This individual right here is the animation director of One Punch Man Season 2. Forgive me, I'm about to flashbang you, but this is the individual in question. You can see what they've worked on over the years, and as you can see, they are associated with One Punch Man Season 2 and One Punch Man's OVA. You can see kind of the episodes they've worked on as an action animation director, key animation, etc., etc. You get the point. So this individual made a public post a few days ago that is making the rounds in the anime community and getting quite a few people upset. You don't believe me? Let me pull it up. So basically, this is just a fraction of some of the quote retweets on the post. You have people in Japan and different areas around the world kind of talking about the situation, but you see people putting this individual, this director, under the microscope and basically talking about, okay, so if you're going to be very harsh, do a lot of harsh criticism towards this really good anime, then I expect maybe One Punch Man Season 3 to be just as good. And a lot of people are bringing up, for instance, One Punch Man Season 2, and just how people's reactions to it was, let's be completely blunt, very negative when it actually released. And to this very day, a lot of people view One Punch Man Season 2 as a straight up downgrade in every single way in comparison to the first season. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We need to get into exactly how this started and why this comment was even made in the first place. So this right here, this animation director, he basically said this. Now this is Google Translate, and apparently from what I can find out, there is some inaccuracies with this translation, which I will cover. But regardless, there does need to be something said about this statement. So first off, let's read it. It's great animation, but I don't feel drawn to it. I guess it's because the direction isn't that great. Even if it's shown at the same tempo and with the same tension, it just flows by without time to absorb it. Also, please stop using the same layout, movements, and expression as certain super animators' drawings. It's a shame. Now, there's a lot to take away from this post, and before I get into maybe the mistranslations of this post, we need to showcase exactly what he's talking about. So, this individual right here is talking about this animator, Neon41, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, but basically they've been working on this anime called Supercube. I recently have discovered this series, and I think a lot of people have recently discovered it. I didn't even know of its existence, basically, but this clip has been making the rounds in the community for a bit now for the past few days, and this is the animation clip that the One Punch Man Season 2 director was talking about. This right here. And anyone taking a hard look at this surface level will be like, holy crap, this looks good. What is he complaining about? And there is some criticisms to be said about this, which I will get into. But in general, on surface level, this doesn't look that bad. This looks absolutely incredible. This is great art. This is great animation. It looks absolutely stunning. And I don't know too much about Supercube. I'm going to clarify this, but I believe that this is a Chinese anime. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. Please do so. But regardless, there is definitely a different style here. You can see that, there is a uniqueness to this. There is some replicas maybe to super animators within the anime industry. But overall, it's a really good sequence that was done by Neon41. So basically, you have this individual, the director, or animation director, clarification, commenting on this scene, basically saying that, it's kind of bad. It lacks tension and all sorts of stuff. Stop trying to copy people. It's a shame. And this comment right here is what's really bugging a lot of people about the statement, where he says it's a shame. And according to what I could find out, apparently, it's a mistranslation. This individual kind of clarifies it. I guess people should learn what the meaning of motanai is, because he didn't say it's shameful. He said it's a waste. So I take it as it's a waste of talent from that animator. Shameful sounds like an extreme way of translating motanai, and then they go on to further say, and he wasn't harsh with his criticism either. Where's the harshness? In the fact that he slightly deviated from the Japanese stereotype of being super polite when speaking, nothing he said sounds harsh, but all the comments English speakers throw at him are harsh. Now, regardless if this is true or not, or if this was properly translated or not, it is facing a lot of backlash. For instance, the animator in question is facing a lot of backlash for this comment, because obviously this individual did work on One Punch Man Season 2. And as we all know, One Punch Man Season 2, and a lot of people can agree, wasn't as good as Season 1. Now, I think that it's a little bit unfair, because obviously JC staff never was going to be capable of ever being able to replicate One Punch Man Season 1, but obviously it doesn't change the fact. The audience will complain, or the audience will talk about what they want, and if they don't like it, they don't like it. That's just the end of story, that's what it is, and people genuinely thought Season 2 was just not as good, and was not as beautifully animated. So, when you factor in that criticism, and you have this animation director coming in and critiquing this work that obviously looks really good surface level, even if there's some areas maybe you could talk about, it's gonna rub people the wrong way. It makes a lot of sense why it would, especially when we all know at this point in time that One Punch Man Season 3 is in the horizon from 6 months from now, set to air 6 to 7 months from now, and we still don't have a staff listing. Don't believe me? I'm gonna pull it up. Give me just a second, I'll pull it up for you. So this is One Punch Man Season 3, and we can take a quick look at their staff listing here if I click this, and you can see that there's basically no staff really confirmed. We don't really even know at this current time, unless there's somewhere else that clarifies, we don't even know who the director is of Season 3, even though this is literally set to air this year. Like, it is set to air in October of 2025, and we still do not have a staff listing. It's scary. So what I'm trying to say is that indirectly, what this man has done has now managed to put One Punch Man Season 3 in the crossfire of more criticism that is to come. It was already going to get criticism, because obviously things that are building up towards it maybe not being as good, but now that you have a statement like this, people are going to come back to this. Like, when One Punch Man Season 3 airs, and if it's not as good as what people think it's going to be, they're going to come back to this tweet, and this man is about to get flamed. I'm not saying it's warranted, I'm not saying that, but obviously people are very upset with this comment, and I just like, yo, it's a lot of stuff, a lot of crazy stuff's been going on, but yeah, I mean, overall, talking about the sequence in general from Supercube Episode 7, I'm not gonna lie, this does make me want to watch the show. I might have to sit down and dedicate some time to it. However, there is something that does need to be stated that is a negative to this show that a lot of people, for some reason, aren't talking about, even though obviously everybody's attention is on the art and animation. Apparently, there is AI-generated dub for the series. Don't believe me? Just listen to this. This is a dub from Supercube. I'll let you listen to it.
Oh no! So hard. I lost again.
Take the punishment. Your turn to answer the question.
I don't think you need to listen to any more to really get a good idea, but basically, from my understanding, Supercube has been using, like, AI-generated subtitles, dub, etc. to be able to, more or less produce. I don't know how factually correct this is. Maybe this is a big meme, but I believe it's probably correct. I'm inclined to believe it. Regardless, I'm assuming if you do want to get into the series, you probably should watch it in its native language, probably in Chinese or in Japanese. If you watch it in English dub, it's probably not going to be that good. That's my takeaway from it. But regardless, I will say this drama has gotten ridiculous. A lot of people have been adding me at this and telling me, hey, Chibi, you need to talk about this. This is kind of ridiculous. You know, the One Punch Man director, being very harsh with Supercube. Yeah, I wanted to bring this to people's attention because it's kind of crazy stuff. Do you think that the director was in the right for what they said? Do you think that they were too harsh? I do want to point out, though, by the way, that Neon41, like the individual that did the scene and animated it, apparently they're only 19 years old, so to see this stunning level of animation from a 19-year-old and at that is impressive. And I think that it's just like, clearly this individual is still trying to find their place in the industry. They're still trying to come to their own creative style, and the fact that they're getting this harsh critique at just the age of 19 is kind of wild to me personally. It's like, this is some stunning stuff. Like, this is some super level animation stuff. Even if it isn't perfect, and there might be areas to critique, it is still very freaking impressive for a 19-year-old to be able to do something like this for this long of a stretch. That is insane. But I'll leave it at that, though. You all have a fantastic day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.